Hello, everyone. In the last episode, we talked about heart health, and today we're going to dive a little bit deeper into this wonder molecule called CoQ10 or coenzyme Q10, which is actually part of a B vitamin. And we're going to go into a lot of detail today on why this amazing thing is amazing at all. And guess what? You're going to find out it actually affects every single cell in your body. Even though we primarily talk about it in regards to heart health, it actually affects, every cell in your body. If it's a cell, that's what we're made of, it's affected by CoQ10. Hello, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Dyer, the Supplementarian, and I have with me today my coworker, Jayne Rizner, and we're going to dive into CoQ10 and why you might want to add it to your diet. Hello, Jayne. How are you today?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Wonderful, wonderful. So, do you take CoQ10 on a daily basis?
I do sporadically. I don't take it all the time. So, I take a lot of things for my heart, but I take CoQ10 probably every other month.
Gotcha. And that's a great regimen.
Yeah.
That's going to keep your levels where you want them to be, because our body actually makes CoQ10, but that doesn't mean it makes enough CoQ10.
Right.
This amazing little molecule is actually what sparks our body to make ATP. And so it actually triggers the neurons to move through our body and affects us on the mitochondria level. So if you remember from science class, that's like the heart of your cell. And the mitochondria give us 95% of our energy. So they're just a little bit important to us. So Jayne, tell us a little more about CoQ10.
Well, CoQ10 is made in your body naturally, but usually most adults are deficient. And also you can get it from foods, and you can get it from like fish and peanuts and organ meats and whole grains, but there's not enough in those foods that are considered, those are the main foods you can get it from, but there's not really enough. If you're deficient in your body, that won't catch you up. You can't eat enough to catch your body up completely. So the recommendation is that you take about 100 milligrams a day in order to catch up and stay caught up. And because your mitochondria are so important to every bodily function. You can't do any bodily functions without the mitochondria in your cell producing energy for you. It's just recommended that you keep that tended to.
Absolutely. And can you take too much CoQ10?
I'm not aware that there is toxicity associated with too much CoQ10, but I'm also not positive about that either.
But we definitely know there's damage done if you don't have enough.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
So if somebody has had heart issues, a lot of times the doctor is going to recommend CoQ10 for them, especially if they're on a statin. So explain a little bit about how the statin affects the cardiovascular system long term and why CoQ10 is recommended.
Well, most statin drugs, and I know they're coming out with new ones all the time, and I'm not sure about, the latest and greatest ones, but the traditional statin drugs do have a side effect that affects your entire muscular system. So that includes the heart, because the heart is a muscle. And so because of this, if you are on a statin, you really need to be on CoQ10, because whether you can feel the effects of that muscle side effect or not, it can still be happening in small ways, and it can be happening to your heart without you realizing it. And so it's a very good idea that if you're on a statin drug, to go ahead and take the CoQ10 with it, because it enhances so many other things anyway, and it also negates those difficult side effects of the statin drugs.
Yeah, and that's really important, is to negate negative side effects from any medications we take, and to find out what we need to do to negate those as much as possible. Something else interesting I discovered, and I didn't know this before, was that CoQ10 can actually help people that have migraines. So to me, if you suffer from chronic migraines, adding CoQ10 to your diet may just be your saving grace, because it's going to help your mitochondria in the brain work better and reduce those migraine headaches. I found that to be a fascinating study and hadn't known that before. So it's something that we're going to begin recommending to anybody that comes in with chronic migraines, as well as the essential oils and the other supplements that we also recommend.
Yeah. What they found out is that the mitochondria function gets interrupted in the brain, and that CoQ10 helps to fix that. So it's really something new. Yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah. And the fact is everything in our body is related. We may study the heart health and the cardiovascular system separately, but it affects every part of our body, whether or not our heart health is good, whether or not our cardiovascular system is working properly, whether or not our muscles are doing what they're supposed to be doing, our nervous system. They all work together as one unit, and we can't just take care of one and ignore the others, or we're still going to fall apart. So it's amazing how much these things are interrelated, and how much one thing like CoQ10 can affect our entire body in a positive way and help us be healthier overall.
Right.
So another thing they recommend CoQ10 for is teeth and gums. Tell us a little bit about that, Jayne.
Well, that was a really weird one too, but some of the clinical studies that they've been doing with CoQ10, because of how it helps your body deal with inflammation, it gets rid of dental and gum disease very quickly. They were doing a study on CoQ10 for a different reason, and they just found out all the participants who had gum disease were healing very quickly, and quicker than you normally would, and quicker with some other treatments that they were trying. So I think more testing needs to be done, but that was the initial studies did show significant improvement. So interesting.
And again, this is because CoQ10 helps us on the cellular level, and the more we help every cell in our body, the healthier our whole body is. It also helps with our energy levels because it's helping the mitochondria, and our mitochondria is what provides us with most of our energy. So if you not only want your heart to be healthy, not only do you need to move and exercise, but CoQ10 will help you move and exercise better because you'll have the energy to do it. So again, it's all completely related. And now another thing is the recent studies on ubiquinone versus ubiquinol and the difference in those two forms. Jayne, can you explain that to everyone a little bit?
Yeah, ubiquinone is, ubiquinone and ubiquinol are both forms of CoQ10. Ubiquinol is the bioactive form. So if you can take ubiquinone, it's usually less expensive. And so that's a good bargain for you if your body absorbs it. But if you find that you thought you were taking this and you thought it would work wonders and it doesn't, then try the ubiquinol, because it is a bioactive form and it will absorb quicker and better into your system, and you'll be able to be getting more of it if you really need it. If you need CoQ10 because you actually already have heart disease or you're actually taking a statin, I would skip the ubiquinol and just go straight to the ubiquinone. And maybe one of the months you just trade over and try the ubiquinol and see if you have the same results. And if you do, then you can just take the ubiquinol. But if you don't, the ubiquinone, then just try to get the ubiquinol. It's just more absorbable by the people who can't absorb it. But some people can. So you can't discount it as a good option, and it's less expensive. So
yes. Yeah, and all of our bodies are different, and our body has to take things in their raw form and break them down smaller and smaller and smaller particles, smaller and smaller substances that it can turn around, convert, and use. And so in this case, the liver could be converting it, and this just takes an extra step away from that so that it's already more ready to be used by it. But again, that it's a little bit more expensive, so if that doesn't fit in your budget, you're still better off getting the other and
That's
getting
right.
as much absorption as possible from it as your body can, because it's better to have some than to have none.
exactly.
So I do recommend CoQ10 at least periodically, as Jayne talks about, like every other month and stuff, to people that are healthy to remain healthy. And if you're seeing, you don't have the energy you expect, or these other problems we talked about, you have constant migraines or things like that, it could definitely be something your body is deficient on and is sending these things as signals on, we need more, or we can't make enough to keep up.
Yeah.
And so then supplementing it, because like we said, your diet alone, you just can't eat enough of those foods and get enough of it in from those if your body is already deficient. So at least get it caught back up, and then try to keep those items in your diet on a regular basis to keep your levels steady. But again, CoQ10 is just critical for your overall health because it matters for every single cell in your body.
Yeah.
So Jayne, anything else we need to tell them about CoQ10?
Well, some studies have been done about it prevents blocked arteries, which again has to do with inflammation and the LDL cholesterol, and it helps to push that through. And also the studies are showing, and I think we've kind of said this, but I wanted to specifically say it, the studies are showing that it can help to prevent the recurrence of heart failure. So I can't express my feelings enough about, if you have had a heart attack or you have a current heart disease, this could really be a lifesaver for you.
Yeah.
It helps to control blood pressure. And there are also some studies out there that suggest it's good for preventing the progression of neurodegenerative disease like Alzheimer's type diseases. So now the doses for some of these things are higher. And again, you need to be under the care of some provider to understand how much you need and what those side effects might be. But for a lot of reasons, any regular, average, healthy person really ought to be taking 100 milligrams every day. I mean, that's not a big dose. It's not going to ever hurt you to take 100 milligrams. And super good for so many reasons. And just the energy, just to get your mitochondria to do what they're supposed to do without difficulty is just going to be worth whatever you're going to pay for it.
Absolutely. Because what is your life worth? Because we're not just talking about life or death, which this includes, because like we said before, if your heart stops, you're dead. But it's also your quality of life. Your quality of life is improved when you've got more energy and you're feeling better, and you can go out and tackle or grab life by the horns, as the saying is, and tackle the things during your day that's before you with energy, with gusto, feeling your best. So that's what we're here for, is to help you feel your best. And if you come by S&S Smoothies and Supplements, we also have some brochures and information on here that's got way more than we even unpacked in this episode today, so that you can learn more about CoQ10 and how it might make a big difference in your life. So for a little tiny pill, it can make a big difference. So come by and see us and learn more about this. We'll talk more about heart health in the next episode of the Supplementarian. Be sure to join us next week. Thank you.